Well, welcome one and all to Joseph Allen Music. What's up, Jam Nation out there today? We've got a very special guest with us today, and it is Brock Garrison. Some of you guys have asked, and I think it's just a great thing to have on the Academy. Joe, you're doing some great videos and stuff, but I'm looking a little more geared to some worship style of playing. How do I take what I learn in your Academy and apply it to worship? AKA to a praise team setting, to a choir setting, to non-ensemble, just anything praise team related, worship related. How do we do that? Well, I was like, man, I can give you some good responses, but I know sometimes you guys might get a little bored just hearing me. And so I wanted to bring in Brock Garrison, who was so kind to come in. And if you don't know Brock, I'll say one thing, I'll let you take it away. Brock Garrison is the youngest full-time worship leader in Nashville. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as we know.
As far as you know. Dare somebody else to put down in the comments or somebody else. But hey, you are a super talented guy and you love the Lord. And I'm actually just floored and privileged you're sitting down here willing to do this and to help these guys. And but that's who we're talking with today. So Brock, take away, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so I grew up in Paris, Texas. So I'm originally from Texas, which is the best state in the country. But grew up in Texas, Paris, Texas, small town, second largest parish in the world, if you needed to know that. Has an Eiffel Tower with a cowboy hat. But grew up there all my life and then went to college at ETBU and met these guys, John Paul and Joseph Allen. And they're amazing guys too. I'm honored to be on the video here on your website today as well. And so went to ETBU and then ended up here in Nashville at a church leading worship. I'm the minister of worship and media here at a church. So just so glad to be here today. And thank you, Joe, for inviting me.
I'm floored. And for those that know you even better that might be watching, because they might be thinking, I recognize that voice.
Right.
And because we were on In His Steps.
Yes, In His Steps together. We and I'm sure a lot of you know, some of you probably don't know this, but we went on a 3-week trip to Brazil. And the album it is so cool because originally, so JP produced, and we all kind of helped, but he really produced that album at the beginning of In His Steps, and all of the proceeds, went to the mission trip to Brazil, and then somebody else in the van took a trip to Colorado, and so it was all towards mission. So none of it was for us. It was for somebody else. And so it was such a good time. We had a blast. We had a lot of fun, and we did a lot of neat things. And so yeah, it was fun. So check that out, In His Steps. That was cool. That was fun.
You can find that on any major platform as well as the store on Joseph Allen Music if you want a little more of the proceeds to go to the project and to missions. You can do it that way, and there'll be a link in the description, in the comments below. But yeah.
So that was a blast. That was fun.
It really was, wasn't it? Because as we get geared more towards worship, kind of talking about this, that trip was absolutely just humbling.
Yes.
When you look at the size of the project that was done, and you kind of see what God was going to have to do and what He needed to do, but He said, "Do it."
Yeah.
And so we did it.
Yeah.
And we lost a lot of sleep. But
oh right, yeah, we did. We did. We were a lot of late nights recording and a lot of late nights writing, and also, but it was all fun and it was worth it in the end.
Getting to go, because that's what a lot of people think. They think it's like when you a studio musician, you go and it's posh, but they kind of leave off the late nights until 2 or 3 in the morning working, trying to get up, and then having to go to school or work the next morning, get up and be right there. But getting to go in the trenches with people.
Oh man.
That's special.
Worth it. That was worth it. And a lot. We worked with a orphanage there, and of a person you knew, of a family that. Did they start the orphanage, or he just became?
They did not start. It was kind of basically how it was. Is they had connections at the church, and they were going to the church.
Okay.
The guy started it, and it just all fell in sync.
So we got to teach music lessons, and what kind of a cool place. Your website here, you teach guitar, but we took. We taught people guitar, we taught people piano, we taught people singing as well. We taught them a lot of neat songs and songs that they knew. and was able, because of the generous gifts that people either provided or by buying the album or all those things, we got to generously give to this orphanage musical instruments and upgrade their whole music room, which was so cool. Those kids were so excited to have all those. I mean, it was awesome.
And singing praises to the Lord in a whole different language.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about what it means to be a worship leader. Did you ever think you would be leading worship in other languages?
Not before then, because I never had that opportunity. And so it was so cool to go to Brazil and to sing in Portuguese, like these songs we knew in English. Like, what was one of the, we sang several, but...
we sang, what is it? I want to touch you.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see your face. And I can't do any more.
I want to know you more. Yeah, those songs. But like, it was... One Way, Jesus, and then it was just so cool to lead. And what was the cool thing about it is these people sang out. They didn't care. I mean, they sang out and worshiped the Lord, and the kids, we got to share the gospel with the kids through music, but also through the word and devotional. And so that was really cool. Some kids got saved.
They absolutely did.
And became to know Christ. And so it was really cool. And leading worship in another language just proves, it makes you appreciate the gospel even more, because it's not just for one group of people. It's not just for the Jews, or Americans, or Europeans. It's for everybody. And that was so cool, because hearing the Bible even preached in Portuguese was so cool. It was a neat experience. So really awesome.
And it's mind-blowing because, all those proceeds too was going to like refurnishing kitchens for the orphans.
Yeah, that too.
And so, we thought we were going down there to give them food,
Yeah.
But in turn, they were like, we're really not hurting on food. We're hurting on kitchens to prepare the food.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh snap. So we went and got nearly refurnished the whole entire kitchen.
Yeah, and I forgot about it. I'm glad you brought that up. We got to do a lot with that. I mean, not just the music side.
No, not just the music side. And, because you guys, for out there, you've seen the podcast with James Walker on In His Steps as well, going over the season of the trip. You can check out his podcast as well. Put the link in the description. And because there's so much stuff. That's what James and I were talking about. I think we went like an hour on the podcast, and we were like, bro, in terms it's time to turn off. But in terms of the trip, we probably talked about 2 minutes of the trip.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you just...
It was so much fun. We had a good time, but a good time of ministry and a good time of laughing. I mean, we had such a good time. If you ever get to meet, especially these people from Brazil, they're hilarious and just and welcome you into their home. Like, I mean, they welcomed us so much and just made us feel a part of the family, which is so true because they were believers, and we are a part of the family of God because they know Christ. And so it was so cool to have brothers and sisters in Brazil, and we're right here in Tennessee. It's cool. So
it's absolutely true. And that's the mind-blowing thing. Language is not a barrier. The style of worship is not a barrier.
Yeah.
And so you really get that, talk about like in our day and time, if we talk about, and we'll get into more of this, but even just hitting on nothing's a barrier.
No.
And as a worship leader, I think, or even rock star, if you're an artist or whatever, but right now we're talking worship, and it's different.
Worship. Yeah.
But as a worship leader, I feel it can be so easy to just get on the platform.
Yeah.
And truthfully, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. That's the easiest part of the job. Yeah.
Singing songs and leading people in worship is a lot easier on a stage because you just go up there, you do it, it's rehearsed. There's a lot more to it.
It's getting down in the trenches with people on a daily basis. That is what makes it. So, okay, sorry, cut you off.
No, I mean, it's a ministry. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's not just you singing songs. I mean, you're putting words in people's mouths. You're you're helping them focus their attention on the Lord. But also, when you're off the stage and you visit with the people, whoever you're leading, I mean, whether it be your church or maybe a D Now or something like that, like when you get out there and really start talking and forming relationships with them, that's when ministry really happens too. Is just also they get to know you and know that you're not just a person who's going to stand on a stage and lead songs and you really don't care about anybody else, but you care about them because you want to get to know them. So
it's absolutely true.